What is the integer t for which that is true? All right, so we've got common denominator will give me 4t plus 9t over 6, and that's 26. So that will be 13t is 26 times 6. If you divide through by 13, you'll get 2 times 6, and that is 12. What is the integer x for which that is true? Okay, so let's cross multiply here, or however you want to do it. Maybe we could just multiply top and bottom by 2. That might be easier. And then that'll be just 6 plus 2x is equal to 6 plus x. Since the denominators are the same, they vanish. And therefore, interesting, we get 2x equals x, so therefore x is 0. Okay. Suppose that y is greater than 0, and that equals that. Determine the value of y. All right, so let's see here. We've got 9 plus 16 plus 144 under the square root sign is equal to 9 plus 16 plus y, just y, right? Because y squared, square root is just y. And we know that since y is greater than 0. So this is what? 169, and that is 25 root. So 13, 5 plus y, and then therefore y is 8. The sum of the digits of the positive integer 2026 is 10. What is the smallest integer n greater than 2026, whose digits also have a sum of 10? So we will have to experiment here. 2027, sum of digits. Okay, so that I believe is 11. 2028, 12. 2029, 13. 2030, okay, that's 5. Okay. 2031, just keep going here. I think we'll get this in a few seconds. 33, 8, 34, 9, and 2035. There we go. That's the answer. Part B. The product of the digits of the integer 313 is 9. How many integers between 100 and 999, including 313, have the property that the product of the digits is 9? So we have 3 digits, A, B, and C, and when you multiply them, you get 9. So I don't think there's that many. Let me see here. 911, and then the iterations of that, which would be 191 and 119. And the only other way to get 9, I think, is with 2 3s, right? So 331, and then the arrangements of that, which are 313 and 133. I think that's it. So that would be 6. Part C. The sum of x, 3x, and 4y is equal to 48. The average of x and y is equal to 3x. Determine the ordered pair x, y. Okay, so the sum, which I believe would be 4x plus 4y, is equal to 48. So if we if we divide through by 4, we get 12, correct? Yeah. And then what's the other one? The average of x plus y, they're saying is 3x. So that means x plus y is equal to 6x. And therefore y is equal to 5x. And that's it. No, it's just a system of equations to figure out x, y, which shouldn't be too hard. So then x plus 5x is equal to 12. So therefore 6x is equal to 12. And therefore x is equal to 2. And then if we sub x equal to 2 back into that, we get 10. So xy is equal to 210. What is the smallest positive integer n for which that is equal to k to the power of 3? All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is break those numbers up into their prime factors as best as I can. And let's take it from there. So, and this is all over n is equal to k to the power of 3. Okay, then let's collect the like terms. So how many 2's do I have? Oh, quite a few actually. I've got 6 of those 2's. How many 3's do I have? I got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5, I just have 1. And then 7, I just have 1. And then that's all over n. It's going to equal some cube. Okay. What is the smallest? Smallest possible value. Okay, I think I understand. So basically what they're saying is when we divide through by n, it's going to be a cube. And what's the way we can do that to make n the smallest? Okay, well, I can get rid of the 5 and the 7. That kind of immediately, that would get rid of those. But it still wouldn't be a cube, because to be a cube, these exponents have to be multiples of 3. Well, the 6 is a multiple of 3, so that's good. But I need to get rid of at least one of those 3's. And when that happens, this would remain or leave 3 to the power of 6, 3 to the power of 3, and that is indeed a perfect cube. It's basically 2 to the power of 2 times 3 all cubed. Yeah. Let me think about this for a second. Yeah. So now they want the actual value of n, the number, and that's just 105. What is the ordered pair AB that satisfies both of these equations? All right, so this shouldn't be too hard, I hope. A minus B is equal to minus 5. A plus B, well, first of all, let me just write this out here. Is 27 is 3 to the power of 3, right? So that means A plus B is 3. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. Now we just add these two equations together, and we get 2A is equal to minus 2. And therefore A is minus 1. And if we sub that back into either one of these, we will get B is equal to 4, I believe. So AB, that ordered pair, is minus 1, 4. For some real numbers C, the parabola with the equation y is equal to minus x squared plus 7x plus c intersects the x-axis at 10, 0, and q. If the parabola intersects the y-axis at r, determine the area of triangle PQR. Let's draw a graph and see what this kind of looks like. I have no idea what this looks like, to be honest, but I'm just going to guess that it's minus x squared, so it's going to point downward. And so let's just say it's something like this, okay? I don't know, but I'm just going to guess. Okay, then we are told that we have P is 10, 0. So I'm going to put P there, and that's 10. And what else are we told? Q, but Q we don't know. So we just told that these are the intercepts. And then R, oh, okay, I got it. So R is that intercept. So then we have this triangle, I guess, like that. And that is PQR. And that's the area that we have to figure out. Okay, so obviously the first thing we need to know is the dimensions and basically the coordinates. Once we get the coordinates, that should be very helpful. Okay, so let me proceed here with the equation now. Minus x squared plus 7x plus c. So to get the y-intercept, that's fairly straightforward. We can just substitute 0 for x. And when we do, we get y equal to c. So the coordinates of r are basically 0c. So that's very helpful. Because in the end, we're going to have to figure out the area, right? So the area would be 1/2 base times height. And the height is c. And the base, well, that will depend on what are the coordinates of q, which hopefully I will be able to solve somehow. Okay, so then what's next here? Well, we have a coordinate actually, P 10, 0, right? If P 10, 0 is on that, then we can figure out C. Unless I'm oversimplifying. So if 0 is y, and then we have x is 10, yeah, I think that should be sufficient. So this is, hold on 1 second here. Minus 100 plus 70 is C. So C looks to me like it's 30. Okay, well, that's very helpful. So that A is equal to 1/2 base times 30. All right, great. Now I just have to figure out the value for Q. And then how do I do that? I'm just trying to think. I know. I can just substitute it back into there. So we have minus x squared plus 7x plus 30. And then I can just factor this if it's factorable. Unless I have to use a terrible quadratic here. Let me get rid of that minus x squared minus 7x plus, minus 30. Let's see if that's factorable. Let's see here. 10 times 3. Yeah, 10 times 3 would do it, I think. 10 and 3. Let me just see. X, 10 and 3 minus plus. Yeah, that'll do it. So then x is 10 or minus 3. All right, perfect. So that means this Q is minus 3, 0. So that means that base is 3 plus 10, 13. So there we go. So then that would be 15 times 13. 15 times 13, which I believe is 195. In January, Rebecca measured the temperature in the Yellowknife every day. At 11 a.m., the average of these 31 temperatures was minus 20. The average of these temperatures from the first 21 days was minus 15. What was the average of the temperatures from the last 10 days? Those of you outside of Canada may not have ever heard of Yellowknife. It is a city, and it is in a part of Canada that is called Northwest Territory. It's way up in the northern part of Canada, and very, very cold weather. So these minus 20, minus 15, that is definitely believable. Okay, so here's the question. So we have day 1 plus day 2 all the way till day 31, right? Because I believe we have 31 days in January. And they're saying that when you took the average, it is minus 20. And then they also told you that the first 20 days, or 21 days, I should say, all the way till 21, that average is minus 15. So that actually will help us, because when we're trying to figure out day 1 all the way till day 31 divided by 30, hold on, no, sorry, day 22, the last 10 days, day 22 to day 31 divided by 10. That is what we're trying to figure out. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this formula here, break this up. Day 1 all the way till day 21. And then day 22 all the way till day 31. And then we'll just cross multiply. So 31 times minus 20, which is minus 620. And then this guy here, that is right here. We just cross multiply. It's 21 times minus 15. Right? And then we have this, which we get from here, is just 10x. And I think that was given, right? Is that what we're trying to figure out? Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out. Okay, I got it. That's why I put x, because that's what we don't know. And then this is minus 620. Okay, so that all fits in, and we should be able to figure this out now. So we have 10x is equal to minus 620. That's 315, so plus 315. And therefore, I'll just continue it up here. We got 10x is equal to minus 305. And therefore, x is equal to minus 30.5. Is that right? Average of the temperatures first 21 days. Yeah. So, as you can see, very cold. Michaela runs to her grandmother's house and then runs home along the same straight road. The route from Michaela's house, M, to her grandmother's house, G, is on flat ground from M to H, and then uphill from H to G as shown in the cross section below. The distance from M to G, H to G is 10 kilometers. That is, MH plus HG is 10 kilometers. Michaela runs on the flat ground at 12 kilometers an hour, uphill at 10 kilometers an hour, and downhill at 15 kilometers an hour. It takes 54 minutes for her to run from M to H to G. Determine the number of minutes that it takes for her to run from G to H to M. So, let's see here. So the speed is 12, regardless of whether she's going from M to H or H to M, right? Because the speed on the flat is the same. But H to G, it varies. When she's going uphill, it's 10, but when she's going downhill, it's 15. Okay, so that's different. And then we also know, we'll just call, I'm going to use letters A and B. I just like that better. So A plus B is 10. And, of course, that standard formula, speed is equal to distance over time. Anything else that we know? I think that's what we've been given, so we're going to have to go with that. All right. I think that should be sufficient. And then any alternative formula that you need to use. Okay, so where do I start here? Let's start with what they gave us, the 54 minutes. So 54 minutes over 60 minutes, because these are all in hours, right? So we got to convert that to hours. That is the time. So we're going to use this formula. So distance over speed. So B over, now which are we going to use, 10 to or 15? Hold on here. It takes for her to go from M to H to G. So she's going uphill. So if she's going uphill, I got to use 10. Okay. All right, so let's solve this. Common denominator, 5, 5, 6, 6. So 54 is equal to 5A plus 6B, right? And then the common denominators vanish. So then that, what does that do actually? Nothing. Well, we got to use that formula. So 10 is equal to A plus B. So that this becomes a system of equations. So then A is equal to 10 minus B. Plug that into here. And then let's see here. What would we get? 54 is equal to 5 times 10 minus B plus B. Oh, plus B? Plus 6B. Sorry. 6B. So 54 is equal to 50 minus 5B plus 6B. And therefore B is equal to 4. Is that right? And then A, therefore, would be 6, because A is 10 minus B. That's pretty good. Okay, so then what are we trying to figure out now? Determine the number of minutes it takes for her to go from G to H to M. So G to H, okay, I got it. So then for the time, this time would be B over, she's going downhill using this formula. And then A over 12. Okay, we've got how we have B is 4, and we have A is 6. Oops, that's a plus sign, not an equal sign. And then that should be sufficient. So T is going to be, oh boy, common denominator again. 4 and 4, 5 and 5. So 16 plus 30 over 60. So that is 46 over 60. And that is basically 46 minutes. Because that's in hours, right? And I think that is the answer.